Today I'm going to be talking about first my income streams, and then I'm going to go into how I budget my money, making sure to include investing, saving, my 401k and retirement plans, and then I'm also going to talk about taxes and practices to do when you're self-employed. So it's going to be a whole bunch of different topics here, but it's mainly surrounded around what to do with your money when you get paid, to make sure that you're really practicing the best money tactics.
Up and change your life. You can have it all, no sacrifice. I know we did you wrong.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Money Mondays. On this series, I basically talk about all things wealth and finance education. A lot of this information that I talk about on this channel is stuff that I really think should be taught in schools but isn't. So I'm here to just teach you guys all the things that I know. So I talk about all things about how to save money, how to make money, how to invest, different money making streams. If you guys are new here, my name is Ruby. I'm a 22-year-old entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and YouTuber. I have a couple of businesses under my belt. But to get more into this specific video, I'm going to be talking about basically how I budget my money and where my money goes to every single time that I get paid. You guys know I love reading books, and I took a lot of my favorite money practices from a lot of the books that I've read to kind of create my own plan for where I'm going to allocate my money every time I get paid, because I do have multiple sources of income, and I feel like right now is the best time to really prepare for the future. Today I'm going to be talking about first my income streams, and then I'm going to go into how I budget my money, making sure to include investing, saving, my 401k and retirement plans, and then I'm also going to talk about taxes and practices to do when you're self-employed. So it's going to be a whole bunch of different topics here, but it's mainly surrounded around what to do with your money when you get paid, to make sure that you're really practicing the best money tactics. So if you guys are interested in stuff like this, make sure you guys give this a thumbs up. Definitely check the description bar down below. I do have a Money Mondays giveaway that I do every single week, so you guys will see this week's winner in the description bar down below, and then also how to enter this week's giveaway. So you guys subscribe if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up, check the description bar on how to enter the Money Mondays giveaway, and then fourth, last but not least, make sure you guys get some notes out. Note takers are money makers. I always say this, so make sure you guys are writing this stuff down, so that, I mean, you guys can come back to the video if you want to kind of hear it again, but if you're writing notes, it'll be easier for you to really implement it into your own life. So I am actually going to share with you guys the exact budget that I use for myself, as well as I do have it actually available on my website, Lavish Life brand. I've been selling this for a while now, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback, just because it really has everything that you're supposed to basically be doing on a budgeting standpoint in one place. So I'm going to be referring to it a lot. However, you can create your own budget on Excel, or you can use some of the apps that I've mentioned. One app that I definitely think is great is Clio. So if you are into, like, you know, budgeting on your phone and you don't really like Excel, that's a great alternative. But personally, I enjoy Excel, and I like that I was able to create a template form where I can include all these different things in it. So the first thing in my budget is my income. So here is where I basically list out all of my different income streams. I have multiple videos just pertaining to creating different side hustles for yourself, but income is a huge key to budget. If you're not making enough, it's going to be hard for you to allocate your funds outside of your basic needs. So definitely try and broaden your income streams altogether. So I definitely have a lot of different streams of income, and I definitely do recommend you guys to get multiple sources of income. I have multiple businesses. I am a speaker. I speak at different universities and I get paid for it. I'm also a YouTuber, so I have events, YouTube promotions, affiliate marketing, my businesses. I have multiple businesses. I also drop ship. Forex trading is more so an income rather than an investment. Just being able to write all of them in one place and really keep track of it is very important to me. So that's the first part of my income. Next is taxes. So me being self-employed, I have to put money aside for my taxes on a consistent basis. So basically every single month I will put all of my money that I get, and it'll go straight to a specific checking account. So that that's kind of like my umbrella checking account, and from that point on I'll be able to allocate my funds to these different areas. When you have a traditional job, a 9-to-5, or any like real job out there, your employer will pay your taxes for you, or they'll take out a portion of your paycheck and it'll be put straight into taxes. As somebody that's self-employed and works for themselves, you actually have to pay taxes yourself on a quarterly basis. So I typically take around 30% of my income. Every single deposit that comes into my checking account goes straight to a separate account that I have strictly for taxes, because I don't want tax time to come around and I don't have enough money to pay. So I always just be safe with it, and I just take it out right before, as soon as it comes into my account, it goes straight to my tax bank account. If you are not self-employed and you have a regular job, you don't have to worry about that part, but that's kind of like my so that's kind of like my number 0. That's like before I get paid, because I don't count that as money that is mine, because it's not mine, it belongs to the government. So before anything, I always put money aside for taxes. So the first things that I really do when I get paid is I pay myself first. So this is basically money that I'm putting towards myself for my future. So I always put money into a high interest savings account for like an emergency fund, and I always do that first before I really allocate how much money I have for my actual fixed and variable expenses. But every single month on a consistent basis, I always put money into my Betterment cash reserve savings account, I believe that's what it's called. And this is what you call a high interest savings account, because it has a higher interest rate than normal like name brand, not name brand, but like big banks like Chase, Bank of America. A lot of these big name banks don't really have any interest in their savings. So to take full advantage of this, I put my money into a high interest savings account where at least I'm getting around 1.8% APY on a yearly basis. So I have an automatic savings transfer that goes on every single month to put money into my emergency savings. So just as a recap, paid throughout the month, and then all that money goes into my checking account. Before anything, I always take 30% of every single deposit that is made and I put it into my tax account. So I have 2 separate bank accounts for those purposes. So 30% of my income goes straight to my taxes, and then the rest stays inside my checking account. From my checking account, I then put money into my high interest savings account. So I always put money in there first to pay myself first for the future. So that's my emergency fund. You can put in as much as you want, but I definitely do recommend to have at least 2 to 3 months of what your typical monthly pay is as a savings, just in case of an emergency. So I try and contribute there as much as I can. I put money in there, then I go and I put money into my Roth IRA. So a Roth IRA is basically a tax advantaged account where you're basically able to invest without being taxed. What's great about this is it allows you to basically not have to pay any taxes on any investment gains. So I do a lot of my investing underneath my Roth IRA. I talk more about investing and stuff like that in my how to start investing in your 20s so you're rich in your 30s video. I also have like a beginner ebook guide to investing that you guys can definitely check out. But without going too far in depth in this specific video, I have a Roth IRA that I'm able to do different investments underneath without it getting taxed. And what's great about this also is that compound interest plays a part. So the earlier that I start investing, the more money it's going to be worth in the future. So I gave a couple of examples in my how to start investing video, but definitely check out that video if you want more investing ideas, as well as check out my guide if you want like a full beginner guide to investing. So I basically set up an automatic transfer every single month to my Roth IRA. I basically put in around $500 a month, just because the max contribution on a yearly basis is at $6,000. So 500 times 12 is $6,000, just so that I can really max out my contributions to my Roth IRA. So every single month I put in $500 straight to my Roth IRA so that I can invest underneath. And from that point I can, decide if I want to, put money into bonds, stocks, anything of that sort. In depth about the different investment options in my how to start investing videos, so definitely check that out or check out my guide. So I get paid. I put 30% of the money that I get paid into my tax account, just so that it's away, because it's not my money. The rest of the money, the 70% of the money that I get paid, I then put money into my high interest savings account, and I put money into my Roth IRA to basically prepare for the future. The earlier you start with your Roth IRA, the better. Definitely recommend you getting a Roth IRA as soon as possible, just so that you can take full advantage of compound interest, because the money that you put in now is going to be worth way more down the line. Open a Roth IRA for myself. However, I want to open up one for my siblings to make sure that they're taking advantage of this as soon as possible. This is something that you should do when you're young. One, because you're obviously making less than you would in the future, so you're in a lower tax bracket, and two, you have decades upon decades of compound interest on your side, meaning that, you know, the more time that you have your money inside this Roth IRA you have on your side, the more the money is going to increase over that time. There's a whole bunch of different ways to kind of figure out how compound interest works. You can Google it, you can use a compound interest calculator, but just to give you guys an example right now, every single dollar that you invest at age 20, right, by the time that you're 60 years old, that $1 is going to equal $21, assuming a 8% return, right? So you guys can do more research on compound interest to really figure out how to take advantage of this. I talk about this in my book, but you guys, compound interest really will change your life, and it can make a small amount of money very substantial, literally in the millions, later on down the line. Now, most times you can invest up to $55,000 completely tax-free in a Roth IRA. So you guys definitely try and take advantage of that. Figure out who you need to call to set up a Roth IRA for yourself, and try and tell people to watch this video, or, you know, set up a Roth IRA for your siblings, or tell your friends to make sure that they're getting on it, just so that they know how important it is and how much it can substantially change their life down the road. So $500 every single month is going into my Roth IRA, tax advantage, so I won't have to pay any taxes when the money is taken out. Next thing that you should do if you have debt is pay off any debt. So try and put money towards paying off. If you have a lot of credit card debt, or, you know, student loans debt, definitely put money in this area. I personally don't have any of that. I talked about that in my credit card, how I was able to get 794, well, it's actually 796 now, but how I was able to get a 794 credit score. Talked about just how I was able to basically raise my credit score without having any debt whatsoever, credit wise. But next, you should be paying off any debt, or just putting money aside to start paying off debt. So next is my expenses. So this is the actual part where people consider like budgeting. So in my budget, I kind of split it up into two different sections: my fixed expenses and then my variable expenses. So my fixed expenses are basically things that I have to pay on a month-to-month basis regardless. This would be the area that you put, you know, how much you spend on your rent, car insurance, if you have a car note, if you have a phone bill, any of those things you put under fixed expenses. So these are things that are never going to change. Then you have your variable expenses. So these are things that you can kind of cut back on if you want to, like entertainment or buying food. Well, not food, but, well, kind of like food, groceries, restaurants, things like things of that sort, clothing, hair, nails. So with the variable expenses, you know that you can kind of cut back on if you need to save more money, or if you shouldn't be spending as much money in certain areas. You can kind of change the numbers around every so often. Personally, what I do is typically towards the beginning of the year, I always create a budget for myself, which is kind of what I consider like my goal spending. So I kind of do this so that I don't play into lifestyle inflation, whereas when I'm making more money, I start spending more in different areas. So, you know, I got paid really well this month, I'm going to spend way more money on clothing this month, or I'm going to spend way more money on restaurants this month. I kind of create a budget for myself so that I try and stay within that means. So I'm actually going to go in depth with these different things here and my numbers. And if this is something that I've always talked about, I really can't have a budget without having an expense tracker also. So even in my academic planners that I sell, I have an expense tracker page, and then I have a budgeting page. And this is so that you can really have an idea of what you spend on a consistent basis in different categories, so then you can create a budget for yourself and either, you know, kind of cut the number down a little bit to have a specific goal. Just to go off of my specific budget, you can change the numbers on the budget tracker yourself. This is what you guys will be purchasing if you guys, so this is what you guys will have access to if you do want to get the budget tracker that I created myself. But so expense wise, I only have 3 fixed expenses, and that's because of the lifestyle decisions that I've chosen myself. And obviously I'm very you know, privileged to be able to live at home still at 22 years. But after college I did decide to move back home, and I live in New York, and I honestly don't find the need to go out and get an apartment right now if I'm already living in New York. If I do decide to move, however, outside of New York to like a different city, I obviously will be getting an apartment. But for right now, all of my friends basically live at home. A lot of times people that like were born and raised in New York, they don't go and rent out an apartment just because they already have family here. And rent is not only is the rent prices high, but you're not going to get the amount of space that you want for the rent that you're paying. So me being able to live at home and have the comfort of living in my parents' house is something that I decided to choose. But obviously if you feel as though you know, your family environment or your parents are not the best fit for your growth, definitely of course move out. But I'm not in that place, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. But I'm looking into getting investment properties very soon. You guys know that's one of my goals, so I'm able to save a lot of the money that I would be spending on rents to put into investments 2021. So I'm very, very, very happy about that, and I'm very excited. But the fixed expenses that I do have is car insurance, because I did buy my car. My car insurance is very high. My car insurance is at $693 a month, just because I'm a new driver. I'm 22 years old. I live in New York, so the car insurance rates are high to begin with, and I'm driving a luxury car, so I drive a Porsche. So that's why my car insurance is so high. I don't have a car note, so I'm happy about that. I paid my car in full, so I don't really have to worry about a car note consistently. Another expense that I have is gym. So that's around $22 a month. I go to Blink Fitness, and then subscription. So I have a couple of different subscriptions, Netflix, Apple Music, a couple of other ones. I just know that the subscription rate that I pay on a month-to-month basis is at $45. So in total, my fixed expenses are $760. So that's actually really, really good. So yeah, next is my variable expenses. So these are all like my goal spending. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less. Groceries is $200. My restaurants, like when I go out with friends and stuff like that, my goal is $200. Gas is around $70 a month. Meters is $20, because obviously when we park in the city and stuff like that, you're constantly paying for meters. Public transportation in general, so this consists of if I need to take the train, the LIRR, or the MTA, which is the subway, I put $50 towards that. I don't really take the train often, so most times I don't really spend anywhere close to $50, but I just have it there just in case. For Lyft and Uber, I have it at $100, even though I do have a car. Uber is actually very expensive out here. Entertainment, I put at $300, so that's if I'm going to a party, if I'm going to be buying alcohol, anything of that sort. I have a goal of just $300 a month. That's for concerts and stuff. There's always a lot of stuff to do in New York, so all of that comes with a price tag. Then clothing, I really don't have. Some months I don't buy any clothes, but if I'm going on a vacation or something like that I need you know, multiple outfits for, which I kind of travel pretty often nowadays, but I just have you know, my clothing budget at $300. And then hair is $150, beauty and nails is $100, tithes and offering is at $500, and then charity is $200. So every month I try and put money towards tithes and offerings as well as charity. Last month I put money to Black Girls Code, a nonprofit organization, but I'm always just looking at different charities to put money into in general. So my variable expenses altogether round up to about $2,080. But obviously if I am going on vacation or anything of that sort, the price will definitely go a little bit higher. I am going to Miami and Puerto Rico this month, so I sometimes have a vacation budget there, but on a month-to-month basis I don't have a vacation budget. So that's that. And then also on my specific budget, now that I'm looking at it, I also do have stuff here for my businesses. So every single business I have separate kind of like a separate box for. So I have my fixed costs, inventory costs, subscriptions, variable costs, and then I also have my assistant pay, because you guys know I do have an assistant now. So so that's basically it for my fixed and variable expenses. I do things a little bit differently. So as I mentioned in my credit card video, I basically pay for everything with my credit card, but I pay it as if it's a debit card. So I know a lot of you guys haven't watched my credit video yet. I definitely recommend you guys to watch it if you're looking to build your credit score. But basically what I do is I use my credit cards basically like it's a debit card. I have about 7 credit cards that I have available to use, and with a combined credit limit of $40,000. However, I don't use more than 10% of my credit limit per card. So I never use more than $4,000 worth of credit on a month-to-month basis. But every single month, I pay off my credit cards in full, so that I am building my credit on a month-to-month basis, and buying things that I would normally buy just with the credit card, so that I'm building my credit. I have multiple different credit cards that I make all these payments with. Each credit card is for specific types of payments. So I have a credit card that I use only for restaurants and food. I have a credit card that I use for gas. Just because different credit cards have different cash back advantages. Off by the end of the month with my checking account, just so that I can constantly be building my credit. So what's great about this also is that a lot of credit cards have a lot of different advantages. So you can get a whole bunch of different things like free travel credit. I travel a lot for free just because of how many points and stuff I have on my credit cards. You can get cash back on a lot of things that you pay for if you use specific credit cards. Got my credit video just to see all the different things that you can be doing just by using credit cards to pay instead of using regular debit cards. But a lot of these credit cards offer about 3% cash back, as well as offering a lot of different perks like free travel credits and stuff like that just by using their specific credit card. Alright, so that's basically it for my fixed and variable expenses. Besides that, I do save a lot of money. So I talked about the high interest savings account before, so I try and do that before anything else. However, after all of my expenses and everything so after all my expenses and everything come into play, I basically put everything else back into my savings. The high interest savings account is more so long-term, quote unquote. However, I do put more money into another savings account that's more short-term. So if I want to splurge on an item, I'll be able to go into my short-term saving. Another thing that I use is Digit, and I love Digit because it's another way to auto save. And basically what it does is it takes money out of your checking account on a consistent basis based on how you're spending, and it'll put it into the Digit account, and it's basically creating like a whole separate auto saving function outside of your bank account. So the money is literally not seen until you really decide to take the money out of the app and put it somewhere else. So definitely recommend Digit. I've been using Digit for a while now, and it's honestly amazing. So I actually do have a section here as well on my budget for how much is auto saved every single month and how much Digit saves on a month-to-month basis. And then I have my investment accounts and my high interest savings account on my budget as well. So you're able to kind of really track all the different aspects of the things that you should be doing on a month-to-month basis just via this Excel spreadsheet, and that's why I love it so much. And I also love the fact that I can really just compare and contrast month by month to just make sure that I'm on the right path, especially income-wise. The income section is like my favorite part, just because I'm able to see how much more I'm making on from a month-to-month basis, or if I'm going, you know, the opposite direction, so I know what to change. So that's basically it for my budget altogether. But just a final note, I do spend a lot. Well, I haven't watched enough of these budget videos to really understand how much people spend on the things that I spend money on. So maybe it's around the same amount as other people, or less than other people, or more than other people. Definitely tell me how much you guys spend on the different aspects on a month-to-month basis down below. I am just very grateful that I don't have to pay for rent. Well, for the time being, but I am putting a lot of money into my savings account for the investment properties that I talked about before, and I do a lot of different investments in general underneath my Roth IRA. Next up to all this, you guys, is to get more income streams. I cannot stress it enough, because without having enough income streams, you really don't even have the flexibility. Your money is just going to be going into your fixed expenses, like the things that you have to buy, as well as paying off debt or any of those different things. The more money you're able to generate for yourself, the more flexibility you have, and the money that you have, you know, then you can really start focusing on your Roth IRA and just really just preparing for the future altogether. If you don't, check out my side hustles video. I'm actually going to be doing another one very soon, just to give you guys more income ideas for yourself. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely check out the description bar down below for more information on the Money Mondays giveaway, as well as checking out my website for any of the resources that I mentioned in this video. Guys, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe so you guys can check out my future videos. Bye, guys.